All right, guys, let's wrap up tonight in the NFL with a look at some possible trades. Bleacher Report recently released a list of one trade each NFL team should make this season. Some of the players have been recently mentioned here. That would, of course, be Jamal Adams and Dalvin Cook from the last few weeks, while others were, well, they were more surprising. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the standouts. Jay, what were the three good and three not so good trades on this list?
Yeah, one of the first one that I had in a good range is Unique Ngakwe from Jacksonville. I mean, this guy playing on the front, he's gonna could play. Looks like he's gonna play on the franchise tag. He signed it at least, but he's made perfectly clear he has no interest in remaining in Jacksonville. And we've seen kind of this theme with the Jaguars. The name Jalen Ramsey comes to mind. Um, but bottom line is, Unique Ngakwe isn't going to play a down of football for the Jaguars beyond this season. With that in mind, Jacksonville, you got to get them out of here. I like that what they did with Jalen Ramsey after they had exhausted all forms of negotiation to see if they could get him to hang out for a little bit. But next thing you know, the guy's just he's out with the flu or something, or
His
he's
back hurt. Yeah, that was
yeah,
what it
he's
was.
got yeah, he's got general body soreness or just
Then
some
he was having a
nonsense.
kid.
But then all of a sudden you see him next week in LA and he's just just
Best
jumping up and down the
doctors,
sideline.
best doctors in the world there, man. That's what happened. I mean, he got cured.
All of a sudden he's good. So Unique Ngakwe, that's an easy one for me. Another easy one in my mind is OJ Howard. We talked about this, I believe, from time to time. When the Tampa Bay Buccaneers picked up Rob Gronkowski, it's a crowded tight end room, not as crowded as it is in Chicago. But listen,
Oh, we're gonna
the
get to that.
the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, in their infinite wisdom, couldn't figure out how to get OJ Howard the football with no Gronk on the team. Now you got Rob Gronkowski with Tom Brady, his old quarterback, and Cameron Brate is still around. He can catch some ball. He can catch some passes for you. Plus Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, they're back. They're still there. There's just not enough pass attempts around for OJ Howard. I just don't. This just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Why they wouldn't maybe look at moving him? And I talked to Drink about this before. If the Jets are really going to trade Jamal Adams, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I've said this. We talked about where the teams that should be looking at Jamal Adams the most. The Bucs are at the top of the list for me out of Jamal Adams list, plus the Bucs that he gave. So perhaps the Bucs could look at, hey, not only maybe we don't have to completely gut the next couple of years in draft picks, we could give you an asset now that could actually be useful to your young quarterback in Sam Darnold. Let's give him a legitimate tight end for once, and then we go from there. The Bucs would still have to offer up some draft compensation, but it wouldn't be as much as it would be without a valuable asset that could actually help you right now. That's one of the things I'm looking at. But OJ Howard, he's my number two on
Hey,
the good side of things.
hold
Howard
on.
in a second. Who
Sorry
says no?
yeah, yeah. Okay, so Cody, we on the same wavelength here. So what do you think is a fair trade like for OJ Howard and Jamal Adams? If you was the GM, what would you give up? How you would
I,
do that?
if I was the Bucks and I was trading OJ Howard, I
Yeah,
would
you
give up.
traded for Jamal Adams.
Yeah, I would probably give up OJ Howard in a first
That's
because
it.
what we were talking because you gotta remember what we were talking
Oh,
about last week. You talk about Jalen Ramsey was 2 first-round picks and something else.
yeah. And the
Yeah,
Bucks' first round pick is probably gonna be late. So yeah. All
yeah.
right. Yeah.
So I would give up. Yeah, I would give up a first. So operating under the premise that you could get 2 first-round picks plus something else for Jalen Ramsey. Jamal Adams to me is worth 2 first-round picks. So you get a first-round pick for the future, and OJ Howard was a first-round pick. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers just say, I'm not convinced OJ Howard can't play. The Bucks just can't figure out how to use him. So that's why I would say a first and OJ Howard to me. But on to Houston and Kenny Stills. Now I know it may be shocking to some because I've been ripping Bill O'Brien for months now.
It's your boy.
But listen, for the DeAndre Hopkins trade, among other things. So you would think on the surface that Kenny Stills is a guy you might want to have around, and there's some value to keeping Kenny Stills, particularly when you talk about injury concerns. But I would get him out of there. I think the combination of Will Fuller, Randall Cobb, and Brandon Cooks, I think that's enough for me. It's not as great as having DeAndre Hopkins and then those other guys behind him. But I think there's enough there. And Kenny Stills, I mean, he's a good deep ball threat. He'll catch some 20 plus passes now and then. But by and large, I look at him as, the NFL version of J.R. Smith. He's just going to disappear for long periods of time, and I can't find you. And he might be on the sideline, kneeling around and doing things like that. I don't know. It's just a possibility of what you could see, and for that reason, I mean, I don't see any reason for the only reason you could argue for me to keep him is because, Will Fuller is prone to pulling hamstrings and other things like that. He's going to miss every other game. And Brandon Cooks, and I take no pleasure in saying this at all. But, there's a high likelihood that the man could have another concussion. It just is what it is. So I'll probably just talk myself out of my third pick. But a lot of these, more of these trade possibilities for the good, or in general, they didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. So I got to be honest, I had trouble pulling up a third one that I thought was actually a good option for a team to give up. Now on to the other side of things with the things that were not good. Now, remember, I talked about Jamal Adams. Remember up front last week I said, and I think me and Drink were on the same page with this, the Jets should not do this. They got him for the next 2 years with his fifth-year option. Also, we talked about they could franchise him. They got him on the cheap for a long time, and they got time. They got time to try to mend this relationship. They got to make every effort to do that. And the guy's just too good. You can't spend a high first-round pick on a guy, have him pop with 2 Pro Bowls in his first 3 seasons and an All-Pro season, and the actual stats behind, the eye test of what we're looking at. You got actual metrics that you can say, yeah, he's one of the best safeties in the game, bar none. You have all those things in mind. I mean, I don't understand why the Jets would do this season. They got to wait on that. I'm looking at Dalvin Cook. Now, I know Dalvin Cook wants a big contract. The initial reports I was reading, he wanted a reasonable contract. Now, maybe that has changed. Maybe he wants that Dak Prescott money in terms of the running back position now. And if that's the case, then I'm not sure about it, Dalvin. Have you been paying attention to what's happening with some of these other running back contracts? The name Todd Gurley comes to mind. How about Le'Veon Bell? Those contracts ain't worked out all that well. You got to recognize some of these things. But again, in terms of this season, the Vikings, I say it again, the Vikings are the favorite for me in that NFC North. They can make some noise this year. Kirk Cousins and all, Dalvin Cook leading that rushing attack with that Mike Zimmer defense backing you up. And Kirk Cousins, dare I say, making a few clutch plays on third down and in that fourth quarter. We saw what he did to close the Saints game. These things happen. We got to remember this. And, oh, by the way, the Green Bay Packers, they're not interested in winning. I mean, we already see what they're doing. So they can win that division. I'm not sure how far they can go, but you're not. But if you listen, you want to trade Dalvin Cook, you're no longer the favorite. The Packers come back into play because Aaron Rodgers can get it done. And then we'll stay in that division. We'll stay in the NFC North for the last one that ain't that good. And this one, and look, there's arguments. There's arguments on this other side for this one as well. But Jimmy Graham, 2 years, $16 million in free agency, 2 or 3 months ago? 2 or 3 months ago, this signing took place. You already had like 8 or 9 tight ends in the tight end room. So don't give me the extra tight end stuff. I know you did draft Cole Kmet in the draft, but you already had an overload tight end room. So, I mean, he was good at
tight end stuff all day.
He was good. Look, it meant enough for you to sign him then. Now you throw in the 11th. Oh, that's too many. Now we got to get you out of here, Jimmy, before he even plays a down of football. You know what? Ryan Pace again. We got to we got to do a GM segment where we rank the GMs top to bottom. I got to believe Ryan Pace is at the bottom 5 of this. He's just not that good. I will give him credit again for recognizing, hey, you know what, that Trubisky, yeah, I don't know about that. Probably not, man. So they did a nice job. Said, you know what, 5th-year option, we gotta cut bait with this guy. We'll bring in Nick Foles. We'll try to, we'll try some different things. But Trubisky, nuh-uh. But here's the next step of this, Ryan Pace. How about instead of recognizing your mistakes and correcting them, just do things right up front? What we all said, Jimmy Graham, 2 years, $16 million, he was in your division. You saw him twice a year. What did you see that said, you know what, we're gonna dish out 2 years, $16 million for a guy who might catch, 40 passes and just not be all that much of a factor? He had Aaron Rodgers as a quarterback, and I didn't see him do much at all. That's it.
Yo, hold up. Bring that back. Hold up. So since we talking about Jimmy Graham, let me go ahead and stay on the Jimmy Graham wagon here.
Please do.
Now, Hey, first of all, not only did he have Aaron Rodgers throwing to him, the man had Drew Brees throwing to him. The man had Russell Wilson throwing to him. And dare I say, nobody know Jimmy Graham ain't been all that productive since he wore a Saints uniform. When he was over here saying, I'm a tight end that should get paid as a wide receiver, holler at your boy. Now, with that said, yeah, I think Jimmy Graham is a guy that should get traded. Here, I got it. Listen, that GM being incompetent ain't got nothing to do with Jimmy Graham. The dude was stupid enough to pay him. That's Pace problem. That ain't Jimmy Graham problem. So if they trade him, they got to pay Jimmy Graham the money. Jimmy Graham gets to walk off with the old money heist, and then he gets to go to a team that don't got 10 tight ends. You know, a team that might only have 2 tight ends. So I think Jimmy Graham is a candidate to get traded. And here's the deal. Cody said it earlier. He said Jimmy Graham got a no-trade clause. That's fine. I guarantee you this. If you go to Jimmy Graham, Pace, and you say, look, I know you got a no-trade clause. You know, you see how I effed this up, man. I effed this up. I'm sorry. But if you decline your no-trade clause, I can get you over to such and such team, and you could be a starting tight end over there. We got to pay you regardless. We got to pay you. We'll pay you. You know what I'm saying? We throwing away money even though COVID hitting everybody, but we just going to keep throwing away money. And then, you know, we're going to let you do what you do. Listen, I think some of these GMs, especially old Ryan Pace, he needs to be him and Bill O'Brien need to be holding hands. They need to, like, suck up their ego and say, listen, I messed up. I need to fix this. You know what I'm saying? They invented whiteout for a reason because people make mistakes. That's what it's invented for. Go back, fix your mistake. Okay, you're going to have to wipe some crow off your face. That's cool. Fix it. Jimmy Graham should not be on this team. This is bull crap. My number 2 guy, Josh Rosen. I forgot the dude still in the NFL. I don't know what Miami going to do with Josh Rosen. I know you got Fitzpatrick that's going to start the season, then you got Tua that's going to come in, and you know them pineapples going to be dropping. It's going to look like a game of Mario Kart in here, baby. But you got those 2. I guess Josh Rosen be your 3rd guy. I just don't think Josh Rosen, maybe he can get a team that let him show everybody his skill set while he was a first-round pick. But I'm sorry, this dude all skin. He all skinny. He out here, he flopping around like this notebook right here, like flapping in the wind. The dude need to go eat. Let's hit the gym, do something. I just can't trust that little baby-like frame to get it done. And then number 1 was O.J. Howard. I'm not going to waste everybody's time. Y'all heard what we said about O.J. Howard. Holler at your boy. He on the team with 3 tight ends, you know. Hey, listen, Chicago, if you're just going to be signing tight ends, once you get O.J. Howard, maybe you'll get something out of him because I can guarantee you for what you paid Jimmy Graham, you ain't going to get your money's worth. I can guarantee you that, all right? Not with Mitch Trubisky throwing the ball and Nick one-time Foles. Good luck with that, all right? So, moving on to my not-so-good list, the guys that shouldn't be traded, number 1 is Jamal Adams. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, we said this last week. The dude did everything you want him to do. And what are we doing here? Like, what are we doing here? You lock him out the building. Did y'all see the video where they locked him out of the building? Like they changed his, like, PIN code. It was like, hey, yeah, like, he goes into the building. He's like, whoop-de-doo. Yeah, he's like, whoop-de-doo. Yeah. Boop, 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 boop. Boop, 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 boop.
What a clown.
Look at his phone. Maybe I did get traded. Hold on.
Yo, he's like, I guess they really did change my password.
To be clear, that's the opposite of what I said to do. I said mend the relationship.
Lock him out of the building. Got it.
Oh, that is horrible.
Dysfunctional franchise 101.
At that moment, I'm like, you know what? I'm out of here. I'm going home, and they can't find me. You want to lock me out of the building? Good luck trying to find me for not being at practice or whatever it is. Get up out of here, man. Number 2, I had Philip Lindsay. Here's the deal. I understand that they signed Melvin Gordon. I'm perfectly aware of that, but here's the deal. This guy was undrafted. You drafted him. He done made a name for himself. He's a Pro Bowler. He's an all-pro running back. To me, if you really felt like you have 2 running backs and you don't need one of them, then you shouldn't got Melvin Gordon. It's kind of like what we talking about with Chicago and Jimmy Graham. Like, if you don't need one, don't go sign an extra one. You need to work with the one that you have. But this is the NFL in 2020, where that one running back bull crap, that ain't it. Todd Gurley, you see what happened to his knee? That's one running back bull crap right there. That ain't that. That ain't flying no more. You need two. You need two capable running backs, spread load, get the job done, holler at your boy. That's what you need. Phillip Lindsay, Melvin Gordon, that's what Denver need. Drew Luck about to be slinging his own pineapples. You know, not the same ones Tua, because, you know, Tua got wine. But pineapples nonetheless. That's what's going to go down. And then my third one was Melvin Ingram. I don't even know why you would even consider trading Melvin. Can anybody tell me who's behind Melvin Ingram? What pass rusher for the Chargers is behind Melvin Ingram?
I looked, and I don't see a lot behind Ingram and Bosa.
I don't even get why his name was even on that list at all. Like, you need him. What next? You gonna trade Bosa? Like, what are we talking about here? Oh, because you drafted an inside linebacker. Now you don't need outside linebackers? Come on, man. Like, I don't know what the Chargers drinking. Whatever is drinking, it must be top shelf stuff, because they really just they having a good old time here. I don't know, but Melvin Ingram, one of the best pass rushers in today's game. And you talking about trading him, but you out here flaunting around. You want to go draft Herbert. Hey, good luck with that, man. Good luck with him and Tyrod Taylor. Why you want to get rid of players that's out here getting it done, and then you got a two-piece and a biscuit behind center. Good luck with that. Keep messing around, Chargers. I hope you got a real good discount on that stadium, because you might be renting it out to somebody. Keep flopping around here. So, yeah, that's –
Is Eckler the biscuit?
Huh?
Is Eckler the biscuit?
No. So the two-piece and the biscuit, right?
Yeah.
You got Tyrod Taylor and Herbert. That's the two-piece. And the biscuit is whoever the third-string quarterback is. You know what I'm saying? No. Eckler is like, Chick-fil-A for them right now. You know what I'm saying? He's been getting the job done. He's on time. You kind of want to pull up to there and see if they mess your order up just so you can talk trash about them, but they never get it wrong. It's like one of them things. You know what I'm saying? So, that's how I look at that. Over to you, George.
So,
Next week, fast food rankings in the NFL.
Yeah. Hey, back to my Jimmy Graham. I know most of my points made it seem like I was for trading Jimmy Graham. You cannot trade Jimmy Graham, a guy you just signed 3 months ago. Gave him a no. I don't know. How did you give him a no trade clause? I thought that was reserved. I thought that was reserved for dudes who were actually productive and showed up, not guys that were just on the
NFL thing.
Not dudes that were just out. Not dudes that was just out on the field posing. This guy ain't even a complete tight end. When have you ever seen Jimmy Graham block somebody for real? I mean, but look, if Ryan Pace actually trades Jimmy Graham this season, that should be the last thing he does as Bears GM. Like that, just general incompetence. He should draft his resignation while making that trade offer and completing that trade process. Get out of here. Terrible.
This is resignation at tight end, because never mind. Anyway, yeah, real quick, I'll go down my list. For my good trades, I had Michael Gallup, number one. Look, Amari Cooper's a stud. You got him for a while. You still got to pay Dak, and that's going to hurt even more than it already is, that $31 million franchise tender being signed. And you drafted arguably the best wide receiver in this year's draft class in CeeDee Lamb. So Gallup's a very interesting commodity. 1,100-yard season he's coming off of. He's got a cheap deal for 2 more years. It's not a deal the Cowboys have to make. You can go into the season with all 3 of these guys, but if you're getting back to running the ball like you should be, Cooper and CeeDee is probably enough, and you can get quite a nice haul back for Gallup in the right trade. I had Ryan Kerrigan on this list as well. $11.5 million in the last year of his contract, kind of getting that wrong side of 30. You just drafted one of the most promising pass rushers in 20-plus years, and Montez Sweat also, it's your first-round pick from the year before. So you've got a lot waiting in the wings behind him, and Kerrigan would still have some to offer to another team, and you're already kind of got that rebuilding feel in Washington with the new coach and the young quarterback. So maybe a good time to get him out of there and get a new team for him. And then I'd be remiss if I didn't speak on Yannick Ngakoue real quick. The biggest thing was from the Jaguars' perspective, like we talked about before, is Yannick spent the entire offseason sabotaging his own value. I mean, he was all over social media, fighting with the owner's kid. I mean, almost taking a dump on the field. Like, he was doing everything he could to get out of here. And It didn't work, obviously, because the Jaguars have
Wait
no
a
reason to
minute.
trade him right
Hold
now for pennies on the dollar. So the best thing he can do right now, guys, really is to suit up, get out there, mix it up with Josh Allen, the good one, and K'Lavon Chaisson, and just get back into it, rack up some sacks. You're going to have plenty of dudes out there rushing with you, and then you're going to offer for him midseason. You're going to punt him out of town. You're going to move him. You're going to get some good value. So he is out of town. It's just a matter of when than if. We'll go to the other side. I had Kenny Stills on here, Jay, but you kind of made the argument for me. Hey, man, I don't know. I don't trust Will Fuller all that much. Randall Cobb, again, wrong side of 30 when the season starts. And we all know about Brandon Cooks. That's really questionable. If even one of those dudes gets hurt and Kenny Stills is out of town, I don't know who Deshaun Watson's supposed to throw the ball to.
Yo, wait a minute. Did you say either one of those? Yo,
I said if Stills is out of town and any of those dudes get hurt, then you're down to just two of them. So
Brandon Cooks, I guarantee you want to put some money on it, he will get a concussion this season. You touch his shoulder, he gonna get a concussion.
This is what I'm talking about right here.
Yo, he's out of here, buddy.
Hey man, I told you how hard it was for me to find three guys.
You're right. No, you ain't.
You're
Not kidding. You're not kidding. The only thing I'd say too about Stills, what's gonna be the market for him if you were to put him back up? Is one of those things where if you're not gonna get a great value, which you're Houston, you need it. Are you gonna get it for him? So
that's true. That's true. The only GM that would give you a sweet deal is Bill O'Brien, and he already got him.
Trade himself.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough.
Texas blockbuster Yellow Tech. Anyway, Alshon Jeffrey on this list as well. You gotta get an older, more injury prone now. Deshaun Jackson just spent a lot of the season hurt. Your first round pick in Jalen Reagor is not only an unproven rookie, but we know he's kind of raw. He's kind of a guy that's going to have to develop in the league a little bit. You got Marquise Goodwin and JJ Arcega-Whiteside and the other two guys. So, it looks like from the spot you think, oh, that room sounds good, but it's a little more questionable than it sounds. I would not want to trade Jeffrey, a great possession wide receiver. I could see more of a contract restructure because he does have a hefty tag this year, but I wouldn't be looking to trade him if I was Philly.
Yeah.
And then,
Let me just add in there.
Yeah.
I think that's a great one for not trading because of all those other guys you mentioned, plus Marquise Goodwin. They're all burners. They're all down the field guys. You need somebody who can work those short and intermediate routes.
That's true, man.
I mean, you can't have Carson Wentz taking 7-step drops every play and getting killed back there. It's just not going to work, especially with Brandon Brooks already being done for the season. So, yeah, you got to have some balance in your receiver core.
Four verts. Again, Doug, 4 verts. All right. And then, I had the Jimmy Graham dead horse on here as well. The only thing I'll tell you, he signed that contract. He's got a $9 million guaranteed at the signing. So the Bears would not only be trading someone with a no trade clause, they would also be eating that dead money. So they would pay him $9 million for doing literally nothing for the team. So they should, because they have like 20 tight ends, but they probably aren't going to be able to.
They shouldn't have signed him.
Or that.